Alrighty, I think everything is good. Now that's probably a bit bright. There. You can kind of see some of the details a bit better now. But, yeah, I'd say that looks good. My hair is a bit frizzy. I took a shower this afternoon, and that was nice to have. I spent most of the day writing, brainstorming. I was mainly focusing on plot points for this musical that I'm trying to write. I was also daydreaming a bit. I also did my dishes. I got some grocery deliveries, and there were 5 boxes. I cut 4 of them up. I know, because, well, the cats were jumping into one of the 5 boxes, and it was the first box that I opened. And the cats really seemed to love that box, so I left them the 1 box. Then about half an hour ago, I started setting everything up for stream, getting ready, and now here I am. I don't really expect too many people to show up this evening because I'm going to be discussing the most formal attire known to man, or I should say, the most formal dress code known to man, which is white tie and tails. And I'm not making this up. White tie is the most formal dress code known to man, and I'm pretty sure that goes pretty much all over the world. I'm pretty sure it's known in Japan because, well, Emma, A Victorian Romance is an anime, and anime originates from Japan. They know about it in Europe. I'm pretty sure there are some countries in Africa that have the white tie dress code along with black tie. I think Russia still has it. I could be mistaken though, because I'm not really familiar with Russian customs, but I know that white tie and tails is seen throughout Europe. I can't really speak on South America, but I'm pretty sure there are still some occasions where people in the US wear white tie and tails. I know I've worn white tie and tails a couple times out in public. It's a very, very formal dress code, but not many people wear it today. Excuse me. Not many people wear it today because it's considered to be very classist, which it is, because it's a dress code that's mostly reserved for very formal occasions, and typically the people who attend the most formal occasions come from the highest classes of society. So, yeah, that's something to consider. Now, I also want to put on record, just like with my tuxedo, I made my white tie and tails outfit. You could probably find the accoutrement for the white tie and tails look at maybe an antique store or maybe some costume shops, but the only costume shop in my jurisdiction that offers the white tie and tails look is a costume rental shop, so you can't actually buy the white tie and tails, you can only rent it. so it's a bit of a downer, but still, it is a nice dress code to have available should such an occasion ever rear its head. Like I said, I made this myself, so it's not going to be 100% perfect, but I tried to get it like as true to form as I possibly could. It's got a stiff front shirt with a detachable collar. It's got single cuffs, which take cuff lengths, just like my wing collar dress shirt. I do have a waistcoat under here, and oh, well, I have suspenders underneath the waistcoat, so and I'm also wearing high-waisted trousers with a side stripe, or galon, as some people call it. I'm also wearing black silk socks. Now, I'm kind of cheating a little bit because the silk socks are really thin, and I'm kind of having like blood circulation problems in my feet, so I decided to put on a pair of black tennis socks underneath the black silk socks, just for a bit of extra warmth, because it helps blood circulation. So, and I'm also wearing the same calfskin capless Oxfords that I wore with my tuxedo on the December the 1st, Monday. And I'm also wearing my DIY cufflinks because they coincide with these shank button studs that I like to use. I also made my bow tie, and as you can see, it's that pointed design. I think it was called an arrow bow tie. Yeah, I'm also wearing a white pocket square, and just like with my tuxedo, I'm toting my silver pocket watch because see, I'm not sure how well that's gonna come across, but it kind of coincides with the ring around the shank studs. And you know, I might as well stand up. So, and these high-waisted trousers, they have jetted pockets. I'm not sure how. Let's see if I can. I think you can kind of see that. Jetted pockets are essentially double welt pockets. So yeah, I can put my hands in and use them. I have the watch chain over here. I tend to tuck part of the chain into the pocket just so it doesn't hang down super low. Now the waistcoat, it's a bit shorter than the actual bits of the tailcoat here. I intended for that, but not this much. But then again, I'm a bit out of shape, so yeah. And back here, it is a tailcoat, so. And I'm not sure how well this is gonna come across, but you know what? Hold on. Let me switch. There we go. Now you can see it a bit better. So yeah, I use shank buttons here. Here's the jetted pocket again. The side stripe. Normally, white tie trousers would have a double stripe going down the side, but at the time I made these, I did not know how to do that, and I couldn't think of a way to do that, so, now, there we go. This shirt cuff appears to be a bit bigger than this one, which is managing just fine, but this one not so much. Yeah, I'm positive that I made this cuff a bit too long or a bit too big, so yeah, kind of a minus, but if I pose my hands like that, you can't even notice, so. And when you sit down, you either want to bring the tailcoat sides either directly behind you or take it to one side. You don't want to separate the tails of the tailcoat, so that's something to keep in mind. Now, the stiff-fronted shirt, for this I used Paltex to try and create that stiffness without having to starch it all the time. I think I used too thick of a Paltex, but still, it's stiff and it's true to form, quote unquote. Yeah, there's that. Sorry, I'm a bit itchy. I had actually shaved before I got dressed, and yeah, stubborn facial hair. Anyway, I have peak lapels on my tailcoat, and this is the only acceptable lapel shape. So there is this thing about white tie and tails. It's a very, very restrictive dress code. It allows very little creative way room because according to Kevin Webster, aka Bowtie Guy 85 on YouTube, the thing about white tie and tails is you need to do it just exactly right. You do have a little bit of choice, but overall, the whole thing should be streamlined, and the look should be the same from the next person onward. And as you can see, just like with my tuxedo, I don't have a boutonniere hole in either lapel. I personally am not all that into boutonnieres and stuff. If you guys want to wear a boutonniere with your white tie and tails, your best bet is a carnation. If you want to do that, hey, you're the one wearing it. As long as you wear it with confidence, I'm sure you'll be fine. Now, I have a wing collar on my tailcoat, and I said that wrong. I have a wing collar on my shirt, and there are two types of collars that you can do for the white tie and tails look. There's a wing collar, which I have on right now, or there's an imperial collar that goes straight up. When I made this, I tried to kind of do like a combination, like it's almost as tall as an imperial collar, but it has the wingtips here, and I did it like that because the Imperial collar, I'm pretty sure it would just go right up against my neck and it would hurt my Adam's apple. And yeah, that's not fun. Don't choke yourself, okay? But if you prefer to wear an Imperial collar over a wing collar, you do you. But the white bow tie, that's one of the areas where you have very little creative way room. What I mean by that is, it has to be a white bow tie. However, just like with black tie, there are several different bow tie shapes that you can do. You can do like the pointed arrow collar that I have here. You could do a straight collar. You could do a butterfly collar. But for white tie and tails, the bow tie has to be white. Period. It is called white tie. Now, normally you would do studs. I'm using shank buttons because these are the closest things to studs that I could find, so I just decided to use those. You can do mother of pearl studs. You could do white gold, silver, palladium, but you don't want to do black studs. Now, black studs are acceptable for black tie, but for white tie, not so much. For white tie, the only items that should be black are the tailcoat and the trousers, and the socks and the shoes. So, yeah, those 4 things are the only things that should be black. Everything else should be white, except for the studs and the cufflinks. Those should be white gold, silver, palladium, brightly colored. It should be brightly colored because white tie is very black and white. There's very little way room for any other color unless it's in your pocket square or the carnation boutonniere that you would wear if you had the hole for it in your lapel. Now, the white waistcoat, there are 2 types of waistcoats that you can wear. Both of them have to be white, of course, but you can do either a full canvas waistcoat or a half canvas. Now, what is a half canvas waistcoat? A half canvas waistcoat is, it looks like a standard evening waistcoat from the front, but when you turn around, it's backless. It's just fastened in the back with a neck strap and a waist strap. I've seen some people wear cummerbunds with a tailcoat. No, that does not look right. It has to be a white tie waistcoat. Plus, with a waistcoat, you have the option of wearing a pocket watch or a fob watch on a chatelaine. Let's see, what else? Oh yeah, high-waisted trousers. Now, high-waisted trousers are also very, very important because given that the waistcoat does not come down as far as a regular waistcoat, you gotta have the trousers be high-waisted so that the waistcoat will actually cover the waistband of your trousers. If the let me try this again. if the trousers only come up to your waistline and they don't go up any further, you're probably going to have the waistband exposed, and then you're gonna have to extend the waistcoat down to where it's looking too long, and then the waistcoat peeks out from under the tailcoat. That's not a good look. You want the waistcoat to either be at the same level or slightly higher than the bottom of the tailcoat. Now, there are also pictures of people wearing morning coats with white tie. No, 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 no. You want an evening tailcoat. I'm gonna stand back up. So, you see how my tailcoat is shaped here? This section right here, this is called a cutaway. A morning coat, it just continues down into the tails. Meanwhile, an evening tailcoat, it has this cutaway right here. Also, I want to mention, I did see this video where this guy was trying to put together a tutorial on how to wear a tail suit, and he basically made his to where it all closed up. No, 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 no. You don't close a tailcoat. That's not how white tie and tails are worn. Sorry. It's like, as I took a sip, something happened in my throat, and then it got a little uncomfortable. Oh, man. Okay, I'm fine now. I'm fine. And I just heard a bark, which means my neighbors let their dog outside again. It is just so frustrating. I mean, having to listen to that dog bark non-stop, day and night. But, anyway. I'm gonna try to ignore that. Let's see. What else? What else did I want to mention? Oh, right. The shoes. Now, I have calfskin Oxfords. Normally, you want to go with something made of patent leather. You either have a capless Oxford, a hole cut Oxford, or the opera pump, otherwise known as a court shoe. And you know what? Why don't we go to the Gentleman's Gazette video to get a better rundown of oh, there it is. So
welcome back to the Gentleman's Gazette. Today's video is all about white ties. Discuss the do's and don'ts, what to wear, what not to wear, so you don't embarrass yourself and look the part.
Okay. Oh, you may notice that he's wearing a top hat. I do have a top hat, but I decided not to wear it because I'm not really feeling, I'm not really in the mood to wear any kind of hat. So, sorry for my absence of a top hat. And of course, Maui came in because He's a cat, and he always wants my attention. Hey. Maui, I'm trying to be really classy here, and how can I be classy if you show off your rear end to everybody? Huh? Oh, is that so? You hearing this guy? He does have a point, though. He doesn't wear clothes. I mean, cats usually don't. You see him? He's such an obnoxious little attention whore. Yes, you know you are. My cat is just... he just likes to hijack my streams whenever I'm at my main setup. Come on, wow. Man, should I just do a stream where it's just me and my cats? Should I? Should I do that? Okay, are you gonna behave now? Let's hope he does.
White tie is the most formal dress code a man can wear in the Western Hemisphere, and unfortunately, most men get it wrong, and the attention is all about the details, because the outfit is very defined by the dress code of it, and it's very limited in what you can do and change.
That's very true. That's very true. You can change the pocket square, you could change the carnation or boutonniere. You could change the studs, but you can't really change much else. So, already, very true.
First of all, it consists of a tailcoat, which I'm wearing here right now. It's different than any other garment. Even a morning coat is technically a tailcoat, but the evening tailcoat is cut differently. It also has a pair of trousers with a double galon. It's high-waisted. It's worn with a white Marcella cotton waistcoat, either single-breasted or double-breasted. It's worn with a stiff front shirt and with shirt cuffs that are stiff and not doubled, but single. Of course, always worn with cufflinks.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier that I made my shirt cuffs and my shirt front with Peltex, and Raphael here says that they are stiff and not doubled, but single, and always worn with cufflinks. That's what I was aiming for when I made my white tie and tails outfit, or at least the shirt.
On top of that, you have a detachable collar, you have a white bow tie. In this case, I'm wearing a single end bow tie from Fort Belvedere. And of course, you can't miss the top hat. This is a silk plush top hat, and it's vintage. Silk plush is not produced anymore, and so you can't get this kind of a quality top hat. Of course, if you're not into the top hat, you can skip that too, because in this day and age, it's not required anymore, but it is a nice touch, and there are not too many events where you can still wear it. First, let's discuss white tie don'ts. 1. Don't wear slippers. Now, they may look very similar to opera pumps, also known as court shoes, and they have this bow, they're made out of patent leather. The difference between
Okay, now, that is only half true. Some slippers are made out of patent leather, yes, but they can also be made out of velvet. So, but it is true about the vamp of an opera pump. You see, the vamp of a slipper goes up all the way to the ankle, whereas an opera pump is much further down, so that when the the bottom of the trousers are out of the way, you can actually see the silk socks. So, yeah. Little inaccurate, but not by much.
a pair of slippers and opera pumps is the vamp. On a slippers, it comes up all the way. On a opera pump, it's much further down. The reason you want opera pumps with a deep cutout is so you can see your nice silk socks. 2. Do not wear a obviously fake boutonniere.
Okay, now I have to comment on this. It's kind of hard to find a realistic looking boutonniere that actually looks good and actually complements the outfit, and it's also hard to find one that's small enough. Yes, I hear you, Maui.
A boutonniere is a lapel flower, and it's almost obligatory for a white tie ensemble. You can get away without it, but since it's a celebratory event, it really looks much better. Traditionally, a carnation is probably the most popular choice, but you can basically wear anything that you like. Whenever I went on cruises and wore formal evening wear, I wanted to wear boutonnieres, and on the ship they didn't have the right selection, and so I decided to design my own. You can find over 40 of them in our shop, and I'm wearing one of them here right now. They look very authentic, and the great thing is they will never wilt. They're all handmade in Germany, and you can find out more about the whole process in this video here. 3. Do not wear a necktie. A necktie is only appropriate for a business suit, but never for either black tie or white tie ensembles.
That's another thing. When people see the word tie, they automatically think, okay, where's my fanciest necktie? No. When something says black tie or white tie, it means bow tie. Not necktie, bow tie. I don't understand why people jump to the conclusion that it's about a necktie, but, you know, this day and age, things change.
You will sometimes see it in Hollywood, but they just don't know what they're doing, and you should never, ever add a regular necktie to a tailcoat or white tie ensemble.
I agree.
4. Don't wear a regular suit. If the invitation states full
obvious.
fig, white tie, or formal attire, and white tie is required, you need a tailcoat. Don't just go with a black suit and a regular jacket or a morning coat. Both would be wrong. The tailcoat for the evening is the only acceptable option. 5. Do not wear a white or off-white dinner jacket. A dinner jacket is appropriate for black tie events with a black bow tie. Wearing a white bow tie with a dinner jacket is simply wrong. 6. Do not wear a regular tuxedo if the invitation states white tie. Simply either invest in a full ensemble, which can be difficult, maybe even rent it. If the invitation states white tie and you're at the opera ball in Vienna, you have to
Okay, this person here, there's my cursor. So, this person right here, he's wearing the white tie and tails ensemble, and he looks to be wearing everything just exactly right. He's showing some shirt cuff, his waistcoat isn't peeking from beneath his tailcoat, like, you see this right here? How there's no white right here? His waistcoat is at the right length. He's wearing the white bow tie, that's good. And it looks like he's wearing silver shirt studs, so yeah, this person right here, he's wearing it right. This person behind him, I think he's wearing a pocket watch chain. However, the chain is hanging lower than the waistcoat. Now, this is just a me thing in the grand scheme of things, but I don't think pocket watch chains should hang lower than the waistcoat. That's just me, though.
Show up in full fig, which means no smoking jacket, no tuxedo, no dinner jacket, no black tie. It has to be a white tie. 7. Do not wear spats with evening wear. Sometimes vintage lovers love to wear spats because it makes them different, it helps to change the look of their shoes, but traditionally it was something that was reserved for morning wear. As such, it's perfectly fine with a morning coat, but not with an evening tailcoat.
That reminds me, I did see a picture of Johnny Depp wearing white tie, and he wore spats, which kind of broke up the black of his shoes and the trousers. But I will admit, it did look a bit out of place.
8. Do not wear black shirts. The only acceptable shirt for a white tie ensemble is either a Marcella Piqué front that is stiff or a Boyle front that is likewise stiff. You don't want soft pleats and you don't want anything other than plain white. 9. Do not wear a designer's name or label visibly on your clothing. Sometimes people get these little tags on the end of their sleeve they want to show off, but it's quite gaudy and you should always remove it if it's on the sleeve. You don't want any designer names that are visible for anyone to see. 10. Do not wear wristwatches with white tie. Back in the day, it was impolite to look at your watch when in company because it would imply that you have better things to do than being with a person right then and there. Later on, watches became acceptable. However, you would either wear a pocket watch on a chain or on a chatelaine, which was a little fob, and you would have your pocket watch in your waistcoat pocket and a fob would hang down as a little decorative element. The wristwatch was something that was quite informal, and as such, it's not appropriate with that very...
Is that Marlon Wayans? Yeah, I do not like his attempt at white tie at all. I mean, there's so many things wrong here. Like, one, his waistcoat is peeking out from under the tailcoat. 2, he's got a wristwatch here. 3, he's got sneakers on, which are not appropriate. It looks like the top part is made of patent leather, but the bottom... just... no. No. That is horrendous. And... okay, I thought for a second that I could see the waistband, but those are just the wrinkles in his trousers, so... yeah, but still, this is not a very good white tie. Excuse me.
Formal white tie ensemble. 11. Do not wear a studdless shirt and don't skip the bow tie. As you can see here, the shirt is stiff-fronted and has little decorative studs that are exchangeable, and it just is the perfect way to highlight a white tie ensemble. For black tie, you have the option to go without studs, even though it looks better with them. For white tie, you have to go with studs. There's no alternative. 12. Do not wear a morning coat. Even though a morning coat is also a tailcoat, and sometimes people can't distinguish between the two, a morning coat has basically one continuous line that is cut away. That's why it's also known as the cutaway. 13. Do not wear a cummerbund with a white tie ensemble.
Yep.
Cummerbunds are not appropriate with white tie. They're okay for black tie, but for white tie you always wear a waistcoat or a vest, as it's...
yeah, I'm not really much of a cummerbund person anyway. If I have the option, I will always wear a waistcoat, period. If I can't wear a waistcoat, then I'll just opt for a double-breasted jacket or something. But yeah, if I have the option to wear a waistcoat, I'll always spring for the waistcoat.
It's known to Americans. Back in the day, servers would wear black waistcoats, and the non-servants would wear white waistcoats. Back in the day, if you went to a funeral in the evening, you could wear a tailcoat with a black mourning waistcoat. Today, people hardly ever wear white tie anymore, especially not for funerals. So it's basically a relic of the past. 14. Do not wear notched lapels on your evening tailcoat.
Yeah, notch lapels, they're the most informal lapel shape for any kind of jacket. So, yeah. I remember when I watched the movie Blank Check, Preston Waters, I believe he was played by Brian Bosnall. I think that's how his name is pronounced. I could be mistaken. But he was wearing a white tailcoat, and there were notched lapels, and they were also outlined in gold. Why the notched lapels? I mean, what was wrong with peak lapels? And, I should also note that while you can wear a shawl collar for black tie, that's not the case for white tie. For a white tie tailcoat, peak lapels are the only acceptable option, period.
Notched lapels are always less formal than peaked lapels, and because it's the most formal garment in classic menswear, you can only have peaked lapels. 15. Make sure your shirt doesn't come untucked with a white tie ensemble. Unlike a regular suit, white tie generally has a lot more details, and therefore you'll also find lots more latches and buttons that make sure everything stays in place. The stiff shirt front makes it more likely for your shirt to come untucked, especially when you sit and you get back up. For that reason, there's a little latch that buttons into the front of your trousers, so it will always stay in place. 16. Do not wear waistcoats that are too long.
Yeah. See that right there? That kind of bugs me a little bit because, even though it's very small compared to others, like, the waistcoat is still peaking. It's not as bad as Taco's waistcoat when he wears white tie, you know, putting on the Ritz, but, still. This guy, he could probably stand to get his waistcoat shortened a little bit. Or at least the sides of it, if it's half canvassed. I think it's half canvassed.
Generally, it's a hallmark of someone who doesn't wear black tie very often to have a waistcoat that peeks out underneath the front of the evening tailcoat.
Ugh. Yeah, John Legend here, his waistcoat is hanging way too low. I think that's like a good 2, maybe 3 inches. Probably no more than 4 inches, but still, that is... Yeah, that waistcoat is way too long. You need to get it tailored, my man.
People like Prince Philip or royalty in England gets that right. People like George Bush or Obama get it wrong. Having that little extra fabric just screams, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm just wearing this because I have to. So now that you know what not to wear with white tie, here are a few better examples. 1. Do wear a pocket watch. It's a nice accessory, it has a vintage touch to it, and it's just much more fun than having a wristwatch. 2. Do show some shirt cuff. Traditionally, you can show anywhere from nothing to almost an inch of shirt cuff. It really depends on personal preference, and to learn more about it, check out our sleeve length guide here. 3. Wear a beautiful boutonniere and a top hat. Boutonnieres just upgrade every outfit, and particularly white tie. A top hat can only be worn with a tailcoat that is long because it's long on top and long at the bottom. Since there are not too many options, I suggest you always go for one if you can get your hands on one that fits you. 4. Wear your white tie ensemble with confidence. If you're not happy with the way you look and you're embarrassed, it will show and it will ruin the entire look of your ensemble. Wear it, have fun, and be confident.
Yeah, there is a degree of truth to what he says. Sometimes your attitude or the way you present yourself can actually affect the overall, feel of what you're trying to wear. And you know, some people when they wear a suit, they just get all squirmy and fidgety, and it kind of just ruins the whole illusion that they're put together, you know? So, yeah. Wear it with confidence. That's a good piece of advice right there.
5. Wear an evening overcoat and pair it with gloves and a nice silk scarf in the winter. When it's cold outside, you don't just want to show up in your tailcoat, you want to have an evening overcoat. A pair of white gloves and a white silk scarf just round out the entire outfit and underline the black and white scheme of white tie. For a selection of white gloves and scarves for the evening, please check out our shop here. 6. Wear an evening waistcoat. Most waistcoats you can find these days are just white waistcoats that are modified from the standard day wear pattern. However, an evening waistcoat is distinctly different in the sense that it has a much deeper cutout so it can show your shirt front and the shirt studs. On top of that, it has a little tab that buttons into your trousers so it won't come loose, and it is backless so you don't sweat. 7. Wear patent leather evening shoes. The only option you have is either a hole-cut Oxford or a capless Oxford in either black patent leather or black calfskin leather. Personally, I prefer patent leather because it's shinier and more suited to evening wear. If you want to make your outfit more unique, I suggest to go with court shoes or opera pumps because there's not really another chance to wear these kind of shoes other than with white tie or maybe with a black tie, but they highlight your socks, they're easy to dance with, and they just go really well with the white tie ensemble. Now that you know everything about the most formal of all evening wears, white tie, make sure to check out black tie because in this day and age, black tie is still a lot more relevant. I'm wearing a white tie evening shirt with a detachable wing collar that sits behind my bow tie. I'm having shirt studs in there. I'm having a single-breasted white tie waistcoat. It's a vintage one and it's backless. I'm wearing cufflinks that are mother of pearl and palladium simply because for evening wear you usually go with a white metal such as white gold, platinum, or palladium. My shoes are opera pumps in patent leather with a black bow. The bow tie I'm wearing is a single end bow tie from Fort Belvedere. It's the regular full-size butterfly bow tie. If you like smaller ones or if you are a shorter guy, you should go with the smaller bow tie. This one is a little more unique because it has one layer of fabric. You can also have a regular double end bow tie, and we show you how to tie both of them in our videos here. Otherwise, my pants have a very high rise. That way the waistcoat doesn't have to come too far down to cover the waistband, and thus it doesn't peek out from underneath my tailcoat, which is exactly the way it should be. For socks, I'm wearing black silk socks from Fort Belvedere, which you can find in our shop, and the pants have a double side galon that is braided, which is very elegant and distinctly reserved for white tie. For black...
Okay. I probably already mentioned this, but I'll say it again. Maui. Keeps jumping on my desk. Anyway. What was I saying? Oh yeah. When I made my high-waisted trousers, I only knew how I could make the single side stripe. And here in the US, you can get away with only having one stripe on your trousers, even when you wear white tie, but in most other places across the globe, you need to have a double side stripe or a double galon. If I thought to do the 2 stripes of ribbon down the side, I would have done that, but oh well. Maybe if I managed to find more of the same material I made these from and try it again, maybe, but since Joann is out of business, I highly doubt I'll ever find any material like that again. So I'm just going to be happy with what I have.
Black tie, you can have a single side strip, which is also known as galon. The tailcoat and the pants are actually vintage from the 1960s from Husmüller in München. The tailcoat was actually not made for me, but it is a vintage piece that was tailored in 1960 by Husmüller in Munich, Germany. I've worn it for my wedding, and whenever there's a white tie event, I'll still take it out because I really enjoy wearing it, and it fits me quite well. Now, if you're in the market for a white tie ensemble, I suggest you have it custom made. If you can't afford it, try to go vintage, because any new reproductions are not gonna cut it. If you want to get videos like this right to your inbox, please sign up.
Okay. Okay. That's funny. Or at least I think it's funny because get it custom because any modern day reproductions are not going to cut it. I find that funny because, well, I'm something of a seamster. And I did make my white tie ensemble. And I feel like I could have done a better job, but still, it is what it is. And I'm quite proud of my results, although I feel like I could have done better. But a lot of people feel that way about stuff that they make, so... So here's another video about white tie. It's how to wear it.
This is our guide on how to wear our white tie. So we have the classic collarless dress shirt with a Marcella front. This is starched, and that's worn with a separate wing collar that's also starched. It's done up with dress studs that are actually screwed onto a base. So the shirt has a discreet slit in the side, so you can put your hand in and do the studs up during the evening without having to take off your waistcoat or jacket. So we have a separate wing collar that's attached at the back and the front with two studs. They come on a little hinge mechanism, so you can flip it, which makes it easier to do the shirt up. So it's already set on one side, and then making sure it's flat, we just do up the shirt and then the collar on top of that, and then flip it so that it's flat and it will be secure all evening. The Marcella waistcoat that's worn with white tie, it's backless and is done up with elastic that goes around the waist. This is actually adjustable, as is the piece that's around the neck, so you can get the best fit. It's done up with mother of pearl studs. These are very fragile, so if you can avoid it, don't undo or do this up this way, just use the strap at the side. So just goes on over the head. There is actually an elastic loop which is fastened to a button on the inside of the waistband, inside, and then that will just keep the waistcoat securely in place. So you just pass this around the waist, do it up securely at the side, and then make any adjustments just to make sure it covers the waistband and you still get a nice front. We have on offer one that's ready tied and the one that you can tie yourself. And these are both in the same Marcella fabric as the front of the dress shirt. And
Okay. I highly advise against wearing a pre-tied bow tie. It's just sloppy and lazy. Like, yeah, I sometimes have trouble tying my own bow tie, but in the end, it's quite rewarding to wear a bow tie that you've tied yourself. So, yeah, avoid wearing a pre-tied bow tie. You should always wear a bow tie that you tie yourself. There we go. Got the words out.
the waistcoat. We have the evening tailcoat, which should never be done up, just to meet nicely at the front. You want the sleeve.
Oh, wait.
Should never be done up, just to meet nice.
There we go. Okay, so the waistcoat on this guy is poking beneath the tailcoat, so yeah, that's kind of a minus. Or actually, that's a minus for me. I do like that he's wearing some, or I like that he's showing some shirt cuff, but yeah, that waistcoat is maybe maybe an inch and a half too long. So yeah, you should get that tailored, my man.
Nicely at the front. You want the sleeves right length, so you're showing about 1 centimetre of cuff, and the finishing flourish is the pocket square.
So that's not a perfect ensemble, but it comes fairly close. I personally prefer a full canvas back, but you do have that option. You can either do a full canvas or a half canvas. So let's watch another one.
Today we're going to talk about white tie evening tails, the most formal attire in the men's wardrobe. We're going to go through the outfit. The most important part is the evening tailcoat, which is completely separate to a morning coat. It does not button up, and it should just kiss on the front points. The Marcella wing collar shirt, traditionally with a single Marcella cuff, but Oliver Brown will sell it with a double cuff. Mother of pearl front studs, and a mother of pearl cuffling. A single-breasted Marcella waistcoat, which can come backed or unbacked, adjustable. The bow
Wait, hold on. Let's go back.
tie.
Okay, I don't like that the waistcoat is peeking from underneath this tailcoat. I really don't like that.
Or unbacked, adjustable. The bow tie, either self-tie or fixed. Sometimes we use fixed for the higher of white tie. Tie could be adjustable or sized. The white tie evening tail trouser has 2 braided stripes or gallons, has a grown-on waistband with a V-back for braces. Attached to the waistband of the evening tail trouser, you should wear a white moire brace. Shoes should be painted with a no-cap Oxford. And full hose socks in lightweight cotton lisle, or even better, in silk. We at Oliver Brown sell a soft attached collar, which some people prefer, or if you're used to wearing a stiff collar, we sell a collarless Marcella shirt and a stiff collar with front and back studs. Alternatively, you can wear a silk hat if you're going to the opera, for instance. When you got to the opera, you would collapse your hat and put it under your seat.
Ooh, that's super cool.
You shouldn't really be wearing a coat over your evening tails, but it's a very nice touch to wear a white silk scarf. Our customers wear
I should
white
make one of
tie
those.
for Beardy's balls.
Yeah, I have a simplicity pattern that includes a scarf. I should make a silk scarf. And I'm pretty sure I could probably figure out how to make the tassels from the yarn. So, it might be a fun project. Excuse me. And Maui's trying to claw a door open. Because he's obnoxious like that.
Oxbridge balls and livery companies and worshipful companies for their white tie events. Town has a history also dancing, immortalised with the likes of Fred Astaire and the Nicholas Brothers. Styling tips. Traditionally, you wouldn't wear a watch with white tie. However, in modern styling, you should try and match the cufflink with your watch.
Yeah, I'm going to advise against what he's saying right here about wearing a watch. You should wear a pocket watch. Don't wear a wristwatch. Period.
Very importantly, try not to show any Marcella waistcoat underneath the V's, but modernly it is acceptable to have a hint of the white Marcella underneath your front legs. The wing collar should just float effortlessly above your Marcella Rocco tie. At Oliver Brown, we have a full range of products in relation to white tie details. You can buy ready to wear, you can have made to measure and full bespoke, and we even hire white tie. But please note, on the hire, we only hire the single stripe dinner dress.
Alright. There's what that guy has to say.
So you've seen it on the screen. In this video, I'll be teaching you all about white tie and tails.
Hold on a second.
So the most formal dress code for the evening is what we call white tie. Very elegant. We probably recognise it from television and film, period dramas like Upstairs, Downstairs, Downton Abbey. Also has an association with ballroom dancing. So if you watch some television shows with ballroom dancing on, you've probably seen similar outfits. This is a modern tail suit, and it's not a huge amount of difference from the original one, which was a 19th century garment when this look became fashionable. Obviously, this wasn't for everybody in the 19th century. This would have been very much an upper class way of dressing who could afford to change from their day clothes into their evening clothes. And the combination of a dark suit and immaculate white shirt was very much in the Victorian Britain view of wealth. It was wealthy enough to have a clean shirt on every day, but not so ostentatious to wear a white suit. So the black suit has a certain restraint to it, and then the white is a symbol of your wealth. The coat itself, similar to the morning coat, it has a panelled back and it has an equestrian feel to it. It's cut away at the front and is fastened in the style of a double-breasted, but actually doesn't fasten at the front at all. It's unusual. It has the three rows of buttons at the sides, but doesn't actually fasten.
I'm pretty sure I mentioned all of that earlier, but yep. What he's saying is absolutely true. It looks like a double-breasted jacket, but it doesn't actually close. So, there's that.
It's cut to the waist and needs to be slightly shaped. The shoulder needs to be relatively well padded, and it always takes peaked or double-breasted lapels. It will have a facing in it. Now today, we'd usually use grosgrain, which is a ribbed material. Often you'll see on older ones, it'd actually be faced in, so you'd actually see a little bit of a material to the edge. And on older models, you often would sort of velvet top collar. Unlike the morning coat, for example, where there are some subtle variations of lapel shape and pockets, this is very much a fixed garment. The only thing I would touch on is that if you look at models from fashion plates from the early part of the 20th century, they occasionally never had a chest pocket. And I have seen contemporary versions where they've not made a chest pocket. But a chest pocket is well suited. I'll come to that later.
Yeah, if you're gonna wear a tailcoat, it definitely does look better if there's a chest pocket, because it gives you the option to wear a pocket square with your ensemble, and pocket squares definitely make ensembles look better.
So you have the coat with the facing, and the important thing is, again, with it is the trousers. Now, the trousers would be in the same material as the coat, and the material is black or midnight blue. And when I say midnight blue, I mean a traditional midnight blue, which is absolutely blacker than black. I don't mean the modern trendy midnight, which you'll get for a dinner suit, dinner jacket, which has got that definite navy feel to it. It needs to be very, very dark midnight blue. So midnight blue or black, generally in medium to heavyweight Baratheas.
Yeah, personally, I would just stick with black. And that is something that I forgot to mention. The lapels and the side gallones, the same principle applies from black tie. With white tie, you can either have it in satin silk or grosgrain silk. Again, I prefer satin because it provides some shine when the light hits it, but if you want to do grosgrain, hey, knock yourself out.
This is a modern one, so it's a medium weight file cloth, like a lighter weight Barathea. Pure wool. The trousers are cut high. And I'll come to the reason for that, for a couple of reasons for that. They need to be cut very, very high in the waist, and the only way they're going to stay up is with braces. So they need to be cut with brace tops. I don't even put side adjusters on mine. Straight leg, not overly baggy, not overly tapered, and on the outside you have 2 rows of stripes. So unlike on black tie, where you have 1 row, you have a double row of stripes on the outside, which distinguishes it from black tie. And now to the shirts and accessories. What we've got here is quite stiff items of clothing, and in the last 20 years everything's got so soft. Even dressing the mannequins today remind me how almost austere it is and how crisp it all feels. So starting with the shirt, this one here is a cotton Marcella, and it's what we call semi-stiff. So it's been constructed in such a way so it's quite hard to touch. It could also be in linen, and that'd be plain, and that'd be heavily starched. So it'd be a crisp shirt. Because it was so stiff and so crisp, you couldn't put a button through it, so hence you have dress studs. For white tie, traditionally you have 1, 2 or 3 studs, depending on your style of shirt and your stature and your build. So 1, 2 or 3 studs. I think this one here is only showing 2 studs. The collar is detachable, so you've got even more studs. You've got a front and a back stud, which attaches it to the neck, and that is very heavily polished and starched. So it sits really, really proud.
Yeah. I don't think we've seen anyone mention that there are 2 color shapes that you can do with white tie. I think we will run into them at some point, but yeah. For the most part, we've just seen wing colors. I don't think we've seen any imperial colors yet, but let's just carry on.
Including the title, a white bow tie. Now this white bow tie is in pure cotton Marcella. Now the white bow tie, if you think you can tie a bow tie, try tying a white cotton bow. It's quite stiff and quite cumbersome, and because it's a wing collar, it needs to be tied yourself, because if you have a clip at the back, it'll be exposed. So you really need to, if you're going to wear a white tie and do it really well, you need to find a sized or single-ended white Marcella bow tie. I would suggest, if you're going to go to the effort, you want to wear this and you want to have one made, definitely don't treat the bow tie as an afterthought. Get something bespoke. La Boutique Bow Ties makes the most beautiful bow ties. He would do a bespoke one, and I would say for the effort of doing this whole outfit, getting the perfect bow tie is essential. When you see a pre-tied one, it just looks a little bit sad. So I would always suggest making the effort, getting a proper bow tie, sized, single-ended, ideally bespoke. And I will state the obvious, that for white tie, you must wear a white bow tie. When I say white, it's not an optic white. It's a rich, natural white, slightly creamy. The reason it will be slightly off-white is that the starching changes the colour, and with time it actually goes quite yellow. I've actually got I've seen some vintage 20th century starched linen dress shirts, and they look almost yellow because the starch discolours with time. The cuffs on a white tie shirt are single for links. Often you'll see for white tie people wearing a black tie wing collared shirt. Because it has a wing collar, it has studs and it takes cuff links. It's not the worst thing I've seen done, but the proper white tie shirt has single link cuffs and a detachable collar, and at least a semi-stiff front. Now the waistcoat. Now the waistcoat is tricky because the waistcoat has quite a hard job to do. I remember this when I developed this suit. This is the first prototype. It had to do a number of things. First of all, it has to cover the waistband. Secondly, it has to be invisible under the fronts here. So if you look closely, we couldn't squeeze the waistband up high enough because of the mannequin. Ideally, you wouldn't see any of the waistband of the trouser, nor would you see, as you haven't seen here, any white coming down. The waistcoat itself is in the same material. This is a Marcella, which matches the shirt and the bow tie. It isn't incorrect to wear a black waistcoat with white tie. I know that because when I was doing some research on this, and I was looking at a 1930s girls' court dress, where it actually said
D with the C.
you must never
Do you
see
still
the waistcoat
contact juggle?
underneath the
Yes,
the
I
tube
do.
at the front.
Not as
It did
often as I
mention
would
the
like,
black
but
waistcoat was appropriate
I
in
do
periods of
practice that
mourning.
sometimes.
Typically, a waistcoat worn with white tie will be backless.
Let me pause that for a second. I still sometimes do it, but it's kind of hard these days because a few years ago, my neighbor's dog bit my hand and messed this hand up. So, yeah, not as fluid as I used to be, but I still practice from time to time. That would work well in a suit. A good magician look. Sorry to hear about the dog bite. It's not your fault. I mean, some dogs just can't help the way they are. And contact juggling with this white tie outfit, I think you may be onto something. I think you may be right. I have yet to do that, but I will consider it. Although, given my ADHD, I might forget about that, but I can promise you I will consider it. I'll say that much.
Now, there's a lot of prejudice against backless waistcoats. I know a lot of my friends in the traditional menswear industry see them as a little bit higher, a little bit second rate. But I actually am a big fan of them.
Oh no, you're totally
just understand
fine.
why we
I mean,
did it. For
I'm glad to
whitecoats,
have someone
for
chat.
practical reasons. The backless waistcoat was invented by Benson and Clegg in the late 1930s, I think about 36, 37. They were tailors working for Hawes and Curtis, who were tailors to then Prince of Wales. And they discovered that the waistcoats would often be uncomfortable for dancing in, but more importantly, when they were being laundered, because these had to be laundered, they would shrink differently. So the back and the front would shrink at different rates, and they would ride up and wouldn't sit properly. So they devised a way of making it backless so it could be laundered. And with laundry comes options to starch. And I've got an example here of something which is comically stiff. Just look at how stiff and starched that is. If you can imagine that being in the same type of material as the shirt, it's quite an uptight look. Immaculate, but you can imagine wearing this every evening would have been, well, if you're used to it, fun occasionally, but that is really, really stiff. It's important to note this is probably, if you go to any menswear shop in the West End, or this is the waistcoat you'll be given. When I did some research on it, back in the 1930s, when this was being worn regularly, and if you read any of the Bertie Wooster novels, and you read about his wardrobe, he had dozens of waistcoats, dozens of shirts, dozens of bow ties, because if you're wearing this every day, the subtle variations become interesting. So there were probably 24 variations of different styles. If you look at old-fashioned plates, there were some wonderful, wonderful.
Okay. I think we've seen this mentioned in the Gentleman's Gazette video about white tie. Normally, with white tie and tails, you would wear a white waistcoat, but in some circumstances, you could wear a black waistcoat, most notably for funerals. I'll get up and show again. My waistcoat is white. I'm wearing a white waistcoat. Again, in some circumstances, you could wear a black waistcoat with your white tie and tails. I remember seeing a video that said that you could do black tie and tails. I'm not sure about that, but it might be something worth trying. I also remember in the Gentleman's Gazette video on black tie, vintage lovers would wear a stiff-fronted shirt from white tie and a white tie waistcoat with their black tie tuxedo. So you would have the white tie shirt and the white tie waistcoat with the black tie bow tie, the black tie tuxedo jacket, and the black tie trousers, I think. But given that the white tie waistcoat comes up pretty high, you might end up wearing the white tie trousers with those as well. And again, I have to agree with Sven Raphael Schneider when he says that it's something quite advanced and you hardly ever see it unless people really know what they do. So,
Waistcoats you could wear with white tie, slight variations of the shape of the bow tie, slight variations on the collar. But this is considered now as the normal traditional classic version. Now of course it wouldn't be a Ramp & Co video without talking of the pocket square. As I said before, older models never took a chest pocket. It's not incorrect not to have anything in there. Often flowers are worn of an evening, beautiful. I would tend to go for a plain white linen, just neatly folded. And with such an elegant outfit, you need to finish it with elegant footwear. So the options would be things like patent Oxfords without a toe cap, highly polished hole cuts kind of work. But for me, my favourite shoe for this is to wear a proper dress pump, or sometimes called a court shoe, which is a very low with a flat bow or a pinched bow. Of course, if you're wearing a very low shoe, low slip-on shoe, your socks are important. And purists would say it needs to be black silk dress socks, which are a wonderful thing. I actually quite like a very, very dark red sock with white tie. If you do get the opportunity to wear it, take it. It feels great. It's a lovely, wonderful thing to wear. I've really enjoyed just seeing it on the mannequin. It's reminded me that I wish I could wear it more often.
okay. I don't think you can actually wear any other color sock other than black with white tie. However, a dark red sock with black tie, that might actually look good. I like that idea. Let's see. We got 2 minutes left on this video. You know what? Let's just move on to another one. I think this is the Dark Lake sock could be awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, let's...
Welcome. Today, historical white tie. White shirt with a stiff front and single cuffs. I'm wearing trousers with a single galon and white braces, basically the main piece, the white bow tie. To cover our waist we have a lot of options. Yes, even cummerbunds, especially the sash type, as well as black waistcoats, but I usually go for my tartan waistcoat.
Okay. I will give him credit for being resourceful or creative, but I don't believe tartan waistcoats are appropriate with white tie. Oh, you meant dark red. Okay. But, yeah, I don't think a tartan waistcoat would be appropriate for white tie. You may be able to wear that with black tie, but feels a little too European for me. well, I believe this guy is from Europe. Judging by his accent, I think he might be from Germany. But if you're referring to the white tie and tails dress code, I don't remember specifically where the dress code originated from, but I am something of a clothing connoisseur, and I like some historical outfits, such as Victorian era, Edwardian era, and I also like stuff from the 1950s, the 1980s, 1990s, basically before everything became cropped, super slim fit, and basically not enough breathing room. Anyway, I'm gonna...
Opera pumps, usually patent leather.
Okay, I'm pretty sure those are not opera pumps, those are slippers. Because those look like they're made from velvet.
Mine are made from velvet, which I love to death, so I just use these. For the main piece, a 1920s French tailcoat, and of course, trousers and tailcoat are not made from the same fabric, but this one's antique, so I don't really care.
I'll give him credit for his confidence. Wait a second. Let me... Actually, the contrast is very minimal at best, so you're probably not going to notice it too much if you just give it a quick glance, but if you stare long enough, you may start to notice.
Don't really care. Final touches, a black Inverness cape I made myself, a collapsible opera hat, which I have a secret compartment for in the cape, and finally, a cane.
Okay. He made that Inverness cape himself, and he put a secret compartment in it for his collapsible opera hat. That is amazing. Okay, that is... I gotta give him kudos for that. That is really great. Very nicely done. That hat is awesome. Yeah, it is awesome because it's collapsible. I want to know how they made those. I think that would be cool to make as well, but there's probably no videos out there on how collapsible top hats were made, but still, I mean, you gotta admit, a collapsible top hat, that is awesome. And the fact that he made his Inverness cape, yeah. I think that makes up for the fact that he's using a tartan waistcoat instead of like a proper white waistcoat. Oh. Knocked something over when I jerked the mouse. Oops. You know what? I want to see if he has a full-length vid. Ah, here we go.
Welcome everyone. Let's talk about historical white tie. And this is actually everything you need. A white bow tie and a black tailcoat.
I think his tailcoat has shank buttons like mine. And I wonder what the lapels on his tailcoat are made from.
For everything else, we have options. Let's go through those options.
Excuse me.
We're starting
Oh, whoa, wait. Okay, so I mentioned earlier that I saw a video where a guy said that you could do black tie and tails, and here that guy is doing that. He's got the black bow tie. I think he's wearing a black cummerbund. He's clearly wearing a black tailcoat and black trousers, so... yeah, I mean, he's wearing black tie and tails. That's actually pretty neat. I've never seen that before. But let's carry on.
We're starting off with a white shirt. This is stiff front and single cuffs. For the single cuffs, you will need cufflinks For the stiff front, you need separate shirt studs. They either look like this or this.
Yeah, for white tie, I would go with these personally. Those I would only wear if you're doing black tie because it's a very dark stud, and for white tie, you want brightly colored shirt studs such as white gold, palladium, sterling silver, pearl, stuff like that.
For the separate color, you have your collar studs, the short one for the back and the long one for the front.
Yeah, the reason that the front has the longer shirt stud is because there are multiple layers that it has to poke through. Two of the layers are the collar that's on the shirt, and the other two layers come in from the attached collar. Like, okay, you see this section right here? How it's like a tunic style dress shirt, and yet there's a little chunk that's sticking up. On a regular dress shirt, on a regular dress shirt, that would be called the collar band. And, yeah, let's just call it a neckband. So, yeah, the front stud is longer because it has to poke through both layers of the neckband and the collar that you attach. So, and I think he's about to say that you have either a wingtip collar or an imperial collar.
You can either wear a wing collar or an imperial collar. I do prefer the imperial one.
Alright?
Next up, trousers. Mine are newly made with a single galon. You might find tailcoat trousers with double galons. I think that's unnecessary, an option, but unnecessary. Probably some tailor had the idea to sell more trousers, so they said you have to have 2 galons for the tailcoat and just 1 for the smoking or dinner jacket. So yeah, I don't think that is really necessary, so I'm just using this. You can use white braces just like me, but fancy ones are fine as well. You can't even see them under the waistcoat, so do your thing. This is one of the pieces where you don't have any creative wiggle room. The white bow tie, of course. This one's made from Marcella. I think the bow tie is antique. I can't tell you how old exactly, but I love it. So to cover our waist, we have several options. In the 1890s, there was a brief period where even cummerbunds were acceptable for white tie and black.
I don't
white,
like that
of course,
look.
but I can't seem to find my black cummerbund. And preferably one of the early versions which were bound more like a sash than the cummerbunds we know today. Next option would be a fancy waistcoat. I mean, this is green, which is quite colorful, a kind of waistcoat you could wear. Most of the fancy waistcoats you wear to white tie were still like mainly white or cream. Next option is a black waistcoat, because it's called white tie, not white waistcoat. So believe it or not, black waistcoats for white tie were totally acceptable.
I believe Raphael Schneider said that if you go to a funeral and you wear white tie, then you could wear a black waistcoat. I only tried my black leather, well, it's vinyl really, but I wore that black waistcoat with this tailcoat once, and I did not like it for 2 reasons. 1, because it peeked out from under the tailcoat, and 2, the contrast in fabric as well as the contrast in textures, it did not equate to a cohesive ensemble, so I just stick with my white waistcoat.
Then we have, well, fake waistcoats, basically something similar.
Okay, that is actually an interesting idea. It's an interesting illusion, but at the same time, I think that's cheating a little bit.
To a cummerbund as they are constructed today and just fastened in the back. Of course, you can wear a white waistcoat, which I actually don't have. I prefer my tartan waistcoat. On your feet, you should wear opera pumps. Usually made from patent leather. Mine are made from velvet. Not very historical, but I love them to death.
Again, those are not opera pumps, those are slippers. Because the vamp is way too high for an opera pump. On an opera pump, the vamp is much lower so that you can actually see the black silk socks when the bottom of the trousers is angled or positioned a certain way.
The main piece, of which I'm very proud because it's a French 1920s tailcoat I bought in London. You might be wondering that I probably didn't buy the trousers that belong to the tailcoat, which is right. And normally you should be very cautious about that. On the other hand, this is an antique, excellent condition tailcoat, so if you don't have the trousers, you will have to combine them with something else. And since it's black, the contrast is not that big of a problem.
Yeah, he does have a point there.
Final touches. For outerwear, I recommend a black Inverness coat. I made this one myself.
I'm still impressed by
Maybe
that.
it's more like an Inverness cape than a coat because it doesn't have sleeves, but that is usually warm enough for me.
You know, the Inverness cape kind of reminds me of Judge Doom's caped overcoat from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It gives the same sort of vibe, but still, it's still a cool piece of attire.
For headwear, we have three options, all of which are black top hats. The first one is a felt one. Maybe the easiest way because of accessibility, but also the most rustic version you can do. This is from Christie's. Definitely works.
Felt
with
is
the
made
outfit.
from wool, right?
Option number two, the classic
Or
opera
is
hat,
felt a synthetic
or collapsible
material?
top hat, or chapeau claque, which means this is silk with a spring mechanism, so you can fold it down, which is actually really cool. So you can store it under your seat in case you actually go to the opera or to the cinema. I also have a secret compartment in my Inverness cape, so I can store the opera hat in there. This one's, I think, 70 years old. Also worked well with the outfit. And finally, my favorite option, a silk fur top hat, which are very hard to find because they're not produced anymore. And there are not left of them. So if you find one that fits your head, buy it. That's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe. Off we go now.
Yeah, I highly doubt that I'll find one that actually fits my head. I mean, my head is physically big. Like, it's got a 24-inch circumference. And no, it's not because of my hair. I just have a big head. And no, I'm not joking or poking fun at myself. I really do have a big head. Oh, this video right here. I've seen this before, and I actually left a comment.
Get ready with me, 1930s white tie edition. Let's start with long evening socks. This is the evening shirt I'll be using, and yes, it does have an attached collar because that's all they had in my size from Darcy Clothing, but I think it works perfectly with the outfit. These are the cufflinks and studs I'll be using, and the cufflinks are made from Art Deco buttons that belongs to my great-grandmother. You'll see more of her buttons in a second. I'll also be using sleeve garters to get the best sleeve length that I can. These are the tailcoat trousers from 1938, and they have a thick single stripe instead of a double stripe. This is a bow tie that I made myself from white piqué fabric. And a matching vest from Reese's Vintage Pieces, adorned with beautiful buttons from my great-grandmother. Evening shoes, Oxfords, and the tailcoat itself. 1938 bespoke, not for me, but somebody with a very similar physique Had it made in 1938, and it's in perfect condition. Let's add a white linen pocket square, and my collapsible opera hat, which is faced in grosgrain, also from Reese's Vintage Pieces. It matches the lapels and the stripe on the side of the trousers. All I need now is a Busby Berkeley musical number to star in. See you later, folks.
I don't care who you are. That guy wore it. Mwah. Chef's kiss. His white tie ensemble is perfect. Or, if not perfect, damn near. Yeah, he does have an attached collar, but you can get away with it if you have the right collar. Either a wing collar or an imperial collar. Some people prefer the imperial collar. I personally prefer the wing collar. He used what he had, and he made it work. The only thing I would add to his ensemble is a cane, a pocket watch, and or a pair of white gloves, but still, he put that together beautifully. So yeah, I give that guy a 10 out of 10, and I'm pretty sure, yep, see this right there? Yeah, that's my account right there. And he gave a heart reaction to it because I think he appreciated my comment. And the fact that he appreciated my comment, it gives me the feeling that I brightened his day. Now, I'm gonna watch this guy now.
Greetings, Bowtie Guy 85 here, and we are continuing our formal wear mini-series. So in the last video, I discussed the origins of the white tie and tails. Now we're going to discuss all the accessories or intricacies that go into the classic white tie and tails look. So, like I mentioned briefly at the end of my last video, the thing about white tie and tails, there's a specific way the look is to be worn. Now, there are some minor details that can be variated on, but overall, the look should be pretty much the same from the next person to the next person. There's almost a uniformity to it, or there's supposed to be. So I just want to discuss some things that are big no-nos for white tie and tails. So the thing with white tie and tails, if you're doing the white tie and tail look, you need to do it just exactly right. If you vary too far from it, wear too many different kind of things, it goes into some very faux pas territory, and
True.
It's not good. So first I'm going to discuss the suit itself, which I showed a little bit in the last video, but it's a tail jacket, so in front is almost like a mess jacket, where it only comes down to the navel. You want it to be roughly about the same height as the waistcoat, and trust me, this matters. If you have a different kind of vest on and the vest hangs down lower, no good. The vest, it's usually low cut, comes down here towards a V. If the vest comes up too high, no good.
That's very true.
You want to be able to see the placket of the shirt, and you should not be able to see the waistline of the pants. It should come just slightly below the waistline. Everything should hit around the navel. As you can see, the points of my jacket and the points of my vest match. So it's not just about what you wear, but it's also the execution. So everything has to fit a certain way. Everything should lay on you a certain way. It should be very streamlined. And it's a tail jacket, so you have, I'll come back here so you can see a little better. You have the tails that extend downward from the jacket, as opposed to a morning coat where the whole jacket comes down. This is just the tails, the back of the jacket. Now let's discuss the shirt. That's just as important as the suit. So,
subtitles back on. Oops.
unlike the tuxedo where I mentioned there's a few different kind of styles of shirts you can do. You can do a lay down collar, you can do a wing collar, You could do a plain white dress shirt if you're in a pinch. The white tie and tail, there's really only one kind of shirt. Now you could get away with a
Typical shirt.
with a manufactured shirt if you have the right collar. But traditionally, with white tie and tails, you want a tunic style dress shirt. Now, what does that mean? That means the shirt does not have a collar, and the collar is attached separately, which I have here. Now, there are two kinds of style of collar that is acceptable. The one I'm wearing here, which is an imperial collar, and it is a tall collar, so instead of like the collar flipping over like you would a lay down collar, it stands completely up. Or the wing collar, which I have here. Both are acceptable. If you're really going for a 100% traditional white tie look, you definitely want the tunic shirt, you want the detached collar. Either collar style, it becomes a matter of personal preference at that point, which is where I mentioned there are some minor details that you can vary it on. You do have a little bit of choice, but overall, it should...
Okay, sorry to pause it right here, but I'm not sure how many of you noticed, but this guy's cuffs, they're doubled. So... But then again, my shirt cuffs, even though they're single, they look doubled. So... But it really does look like his shirt cuffs are doubled and not single. So he's kind of committing a faux pas himself, but whatever. I think I'll give him a pass.
To be streamlined. Now, the shirt, it's not going to have buttons. You're going to use studs. I mentioned studs in my studs and cufflinks video. Usually with a white tie look, since you're doing the white tie and you're doing the white vest, you're not going to do black studs and black cuffs. You're going to do mother of pearl. Now I'm a little extra here. I have some fancy actual pearl studs with a little crystal detailing. And then I have the cufflinks to match. So you want your cufflinks and your studs to match. They should be a set. Usually it's mother of pearl. You can do, the most common would be like the black studs I showed in my last video. They make those in a opaque or mother of pearl style. That would be the most custom. You could also possibly do like a silver stud set. But if you're going for that 100% traditional finish, then you definitely want the mother of pearl. Now, I have my white braces here to hold the pants up. You may see some, I think I mentioned this in one of my other tuxedo videos, where you have some pants that have the side adjusters. That's perfectly acceptable, and you don't have to have the braces, of course, with that. But a white brace is traditional, something that's going to match the overall white aesthetic. Really, the suit itself is really the only thing that should be black. Everything else should be white except the hat, of course.
Okay, so there is quite a bit of truth to what he's saying. The shirt, the waistcoat, the bow tie, and the gloves should be white. Yes, sometimes people will wear white gloves with white tie and tails. That is definitely a thing that happens. The parts that should be black are the tailcoat, the trousers, the hat, the shoes, and the socks.
The vest, I'm going to take this off here just so we can talk about vest.
It's kind of half and half now.
I did mention the waistcoat, but there's a few little things different here that we can do. You definitely do not want a traditional vest where it just comes to a V at the chest. You definitely want a waistcoat that's going to come all the way down to the navel. You want to make sure that the vest is wide enough, however, that it's covering the waistline of the pants. You don't want to see any of the waistline below the vest, and you don't want to see any of the waistline poking above the vest. Now, I've seen some people do cummerbunds with the white tails. No, 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 no. It must be a waistcoat. It must be low-cut waistcoat, not a high vest, and absolutely not
No comment.
not a cummerbund. Very no, no, no. And then I've also sometimes seen people do a black bow tie with the white vest. No. You can do black tie and tails. That's a totally acceptable look, but then you're wanting everything to be black except for the shirt. So you're going to have black vest, black tie, black studs, and cufflink. But with white tie, it's called white tie because it's white tie. So you definitely need the white tie.
White bow tie.
Now, I may have mentioned with the tuxedo, a clip-on tie, if it's a decent quality, you may get away with it. It may be acceptable, especially if you're doing a rental. But with the white tie, you definitely want a self-tie bow tie. You want one that you tie yourself. You can either do the butterfly style like I have here, but if you really want to go for that authentic vintage look, I would look for a bat wing, something that's more of a flat-edged, all the way across. That's going to give you your more traditional look. Something kind of out of Downton Abbey looking, which is something I should have mentioned in the history video, as that show has kind of revitalized the look a little bit. Now the vest, I'm showing the vest here. There are a few options for vest, even though
I
you
see
have to
it.
do the low-cut vest.
His cuffs
You
are
can get
velvet,
one
not
that's
single.
full canvas. Mine is a half canvas.
White tie cuffs are supposed to be
See,
single.
there's no back to it. It attaches along here. That's not as traditional. Again, if you're going for the traditional look, you want a full canvas. But the thing is, when you've got the tailcoat on and you leave the tailcoat on, you really can't tell that the vest is half canvas. So if you're only able to find the half canvas vest, or if it's more economical for you to go with the half canvas vest, this vest was considerably cheaper because it's only half the material. That's perfectly acceptable. Now, some of the, well, no, let's discuss shoes first. Now, I did an entire 3 video series on shoes, and I briefly mentioned for white tie, you definitely want a patent leather dress shoe, or you want opera pumps. Now, if you're going for that traditional look, you want to be a realist with the look, definitely go for the opera pump. That's going to be your most true to form look, but a patent dress shoe is acceptable. Now, I mentioned with the tuxedo you could get away with a black Oxford, not with a tail suit. You have to have the proper dress shoe. You want something that, I'll show my shoe just one more time for you guys. You want something that has a bit of a heel to it.
Yeah, this guy has a cap toe shoe. It is patent leather, I will give him credit for that, but he has a cap toe shoe with his white tie and tails, so yeah. He's got a double faux pas here. But whatever. I'll
It
give him
just
some
kind of
leeway.
has that, again, streamlined look. That's the word of the day here. You want a shoe that has a nice shine to it, that's going to give that luxe look, or the opera pump with the detailing on it. The shoe, the thing about the shoe is this is an extravagant over-the-top look, and the shoes should be no exception. So you want your shoes to be just as elegant and extravagant as the rest of the overall look. Now we'll get into some minute accessories. So I mentioned the bow tie here. Definitely you want one that you tie yourself. Now let's talk about some other little things here. As you can see, I have white gloves on. Very traditional with white tie. Now some of these minute accessories are not, oh shoot. I've discussed the suit and the shirt and the shoes. I want to move into some more minute kind of accessories. I already discussed the bow tie briefly. Definitely want to make sure that you have a self-tie bow tie. We discussed collars. Technically, that could be considered an accessory since it's detached from the shirt.
More or less.
I showed off 2 styles of that. And I am going to be doing a video more in depth on the history of the detached collar and the how to properly attach it and everything associated with that. But I want to move into some of the minute accessories. Some of these accessories are not mandatory for a white tie look, but again, if you're going for that traditional 100% stylistic viewpoint, then these are some things that you definitely want to know. So let's start with gloves. As you can see, I have some white gloves here in my hand. That's very traditional. With formal wear, there, especially the white tie look, there was always this kind of thing about really the face is the only part of the body that should be seen, so the hands are covered as well. It also, it just classes up the look. The gloves aren't as important. You can get away without having the gloves, but like I said, if you're going for that 100% completion, then you definitely want to have the gloves. These are just a cotton glove, nothing fancy.
I still have yet to
You may
finish making
see
the pair of
some
white gloves.
satin gloves, more fancier glove, something with a little more detail to it, but pretty much whatever you choose is going to be acceptable. You just want to make sure it's a decent quality. You don't want anything that's like poorly constructed or takes away from the look. You don't want to just grab any old white glove. You want something that's going to add to the look and not detract from it.
True.
Of course, the pocket square. I mentioned the pocket square in
I got mine right here.
my video on tuxedo accessories. And again, you can do a basic sort of T-square fold. I like to do a rolled puff, but I do something a little more modest than I would with like my regular kind of suiting look, and just kind of tuck that in. I usually hide it behind the lapel. That is something else I should have mentioned about the jacket. It's almost always the peak lapel. If you have a
so what
notched
that brooch
lapel,
he has
then
on.
that's not a true traditional tail jacket. And the pocket square, it should be there, but it shouldn't be distracting, so I like to hide it behind the lapel and just kind of visible but not distracting. You can also do a boutonniere or some kind of brooch, kind of lapel adornment. You can do like a carnation.
Whoa, did you see that?
Some kind of brooch, kind of lapel adornment. You can do like a carnation, even if it's one of those like fake flower pins, which sometimes I do as well. I normally do a red one, or you could do a white to go with the white look. The red gives a little pop of color without really going overboard. I would avoid any other kind of colors, however. This is just a little snowflake brooch. I thought the crystal would tie into the adornment around the pearl of my stud. That's why I chose that. Watch and chain, of course. If you have the decorative fobs, you'll display that in the middle, of course. I just have the chain with my watch, so I kind of tuck it onto my waistband here, and then the watch goes into my pocket. And that just, again, adds a little something as you walk around. You see the chain hanging down. It just gives a little something extra. It shows that you really, all these little touches show that you put effort into this look. The cane or walking stick. It's usually black stick, usually made of wood. It's usually finished. Some kind of lacquer to give a little sheen. As you can see, mine catches the light just a little bit. The bottom, it's not really, you think of canes, you think of like old men or women using it as walking. This is strictly a fashionable thing. The top is usually some kind of bejeweled adornment. Sometimes you'll even see like those crystal doorknob kind of things. You'll see diamonds, you'll see gold plated things. You may see silver as well. You may see some designs like bird heads or feathers or different kinds of animal kind of styles or just kind of ornament kind of things.
Okay, this is probably going to sound a bit snobbish, but to hint at my Czech heritage, I may consider looking into, like, a lion's head cane for me. But, you know, you can do what you want to do as far as decorative heads on walking sticks or canes or whatever other detailing you want. I know some people would do a skull, but I think that's a bit much, and it might actually detract from the whole white tie and tails aesthetic.
This, again, not something you have to have. You can get away without the walking stick. But again, if you're going for that 100% authentic look, then this is something you want to look into. Also, there's an art to this. So when you're walking with the cane, it's all about posture. And the collar helps with that
There's
a
an
lot.
art
The
to
stiff
almost
collar
everything
keeps your
in
neck a
life.
certain way. So hold your head up high and you walk with the cane. You kind of lead with it. It goes out first, and then your feet follow. Just nice, simple steps. And it's kind of a visual thing. You know, you're making your grand entrance, all eyes are on you, and you just kind of come in head held high, confident that you're looking your absolute best. And the cane is a great way to add to that. But again, not necessary. But it's fun. And last but not least, the top hat. Now, the thing with hats, you can't just do any old hat. You can't do a fedora. You can't do anything like that. You do a top hat, it has to be top hat. Now, this isn't the highest quality top hat, but it will do for this video. So it's just a little something I picked up from the costume shop. It has kind of a velvet finish to it, similar to my crushed velvet slipper that I showed you. You may find some better quality hats. You don't want anything that's too tall. This is a nice height. You'll see some that are a little higher, that's fine. Some of them may have a little shape to them where they kind of curve in and come up. That's perfectly acceptable. You want to make sure that it has that nice sheen to it that's going to really coincide with the satin trim on the lapels and the pants. You're also going to have this little detailing around the brim. Sometimes it'll have a bow with it, something a little more decorated. But that is the
I think he
top
means
hat.
the ribbon that's seen
And
on most
the overall
hats.
tail look itself. I just wanted to we discussed the history, so I wanted to go into detail. Anybody who's interested in putting together the white tie look themselves, this is what you're looking for here. I hope you have found this video informative. I hope you stay tuned for the last video of my series, if you have made it this far. I'm going to be discussing detached collars, and we will call it a day. But I hope you have found this video informative. Hit me up in the comment section. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and until next time.
Kevin Webster. Okay. I did get his name right. Well, I think I've pretty much made my point with the, that's weird. The screen was, like, stuck for a moment. Okay, what is going on? Is my setup just lagging? Something is seriously wrong here. It's like everything is stuck. Well, everything's starting to catch up, but, yeah. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but, yeah. We pretty much have the gist of the white tie and tails. And, still have everything on. So, I'll show you, the details I have on. Now, you may have noticed in Kevin's video that he had the whole watch and chain on his leg. Like, his watch actually fastened to the waistband of his trousers, and then it just went into his pants pocket. That is different with what I have here with my pocket watch. And just gonna show you this one more time. Yep. And check this out. My pocket watch actually fits in with the whole black and white scheme of the white tie and tails outfit. It's got a black face with white hands and white Roman numerals. It coincides with the black tailcoat and the white shirt and waistcoat and the white bow tie, so on and so forth. And yeah, normally if you have the belt loop clip, it would fasten to your waistband and you would just put it in your pocket. But me, I'm putting it in my waistcoat pocket because on my watch I have, if you can see that, I have the T-bar. So, yep. It just stops at the buttonhole and yep, just goes down, loops around, and goes back into the waistcoat pocket. And again, I have the side stripe, also called the galon, and I'm not sure how well you can see that, but I do have the capless shoe here, and it's calfskin leather up here, so, and I also have black dress socks on, so, yep, and just to show, once again, this is a tailcoat that I'm wearing, and just like with my tuxedo, I made this entire ensemble. I made the tailcoat, I made the shirt, I made the waistcoat, I made the trousers. I did not make the socks or the shoes. Oh, and I also made the bow tie and the separate collar. So, yeah, I tried to make all of this as true to form as possible. And I'm also trying to avoid separating the tails of my tailcoat. I suppose I could also show. Yeah, I'm not sure how well that's going to come across, but yeah, I actually have a silk lining, and I did make this tailcoat from the same fabric as my trousers. And I'm not sure how well this is going to come across, but yeah, silk lining, I have satin facing, and I also have pockets in here, so yep, it's a fully functional garment. So, oh, stretch out my neck. Some of you might be wondering, why did I make this? Well, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't remember. I don't remember why I made this, but still, it's nice to have. Granted, I probably could have done better, but you know, it is what it is. I wonder if I should have just done regular interfacing instead of the thick Peltex that I went with. But then again, I may end up needing to starch that, and I don't really have the proper starching substances to actually starch a dress shirt or to starch a waistcoat. Plus discoloration, just no. I'd rather not do that. I'd rather not deal with that. Excuse me. You know what? I've done this before. Wearing white tie. Yeah. Let's get into that. So, yeah. There are some occasions where people will get together and wear white tie, like, I believe this is Idris Elba. Grab these. Hold on. It's got some smudges on it. That's better. So, Idris Elba here. His white tie is looking fairly good, but it's slightly ruined because he's wearing a wristwatch that is... No. If you're going to wear a timepiece with white tie, it has to be either a pocket watch or a FWAP watch on a chatelaine. This guy, I think that's Jared Leto. I don't know what the fudge he's doing, but, yeah, everything but his shoes are completely white. And... no. White tie has you wear the black tailcoat, the black trousers, and the black shoes. The waistcoat, the shirt, and the bow tie should be white. So, yeah, he is way far off. I think that's Bradley Cooper, and his white tie doesn't look too bad. But from what I see, he's wearing black studs, which are not right. I do like that he's wearing patent leather shoes and they're not a cap toe. The black shirt studs are a bit off-putting, but other than that, it's not too bad. It's probably a better picture. Yeah, you can see the dark shirt studs. No, you want brighter shirt studs. Mother of pearl, sterling silver, palladium, white gold, but nothing dark. I recognize Blake Lively, so this has to be Ryan Reynolds, and he's just wearing a regular tuxedo jacket. No. No. I have no idea who this is, but he's wearing dark shirt studs and his waistcoat is peeking out from under the tailcoat. No. Let's see. I think that's Tom Ford. If I remember right. Yeah. Of these three men, Tom Ford is the most true to form in his white tie outfit because his tailcoat has the cutaway. His waistcoat isn't peeking from under. He's got a nice boutonniere. He's got a pocket square. He has the wing collar. He has the white bow tie. And it looks like his shirt studs are silver. So, yeah, nicely done. This guy here, I think he's wearing a morning coat with a turn-up cuff. I have no idea what's going on with his collar there, but yeah, there's just too much going on. Ryan Reynolds here, it looks like he's wearing a velvet suit. It doesn't look that good. I'm sorry, but yeah, Tom Ford, I was right. Tom Ford. Now, Fred Astaire, he only has one stud, but, you know, at least it's a studded shirt. He's got a cane, a top hat. Yep. Yep, he has the shirt stud there. I feel like I've seen these two before, but their names are escaping me, but it appears they're wearing white tie, and I was about to say it doesn't look too bad, except this guy on the right, his waistcoat is peeking just a little bit. So okay, so here's Tom Ford with Benedict Cumberbatch. Cumberbatch's waistcoat is peeking too low, at least on this side. On the other side, it doesn't look too bad. I think his left shoulder might actually be higher than his right, but still, I'm gonna go on a limb and say that his waistcoat is too long. So I think that's Bill Clinton. I don't recognize this guy, but he's pulling off the white tie and tails better than Mr. Clinton is. I think that's Richard Nixon, and okay, even though I don't like Nixon, I will give him credit. He is doing a good job wearing the white tie. Okay, I see John F. Kennedy and Ronald Reagan here. Let's look at Ronald Reagan, because his white tie ensemble, it's simple, yet it's very true to form. I like what he's doing here. There's not too much going on, and it's just right. He's got patent leather shoes. The tailcoat and trousers are matching. The waistcoat isn't peeking under the tailcoat, that's good. He's got the white bow tie. And it looks like he's got silver studs, so yep. Trump. Donald Trump's white tie outfit looks so wrong. Yes, it does. His waistcoat is way too low. And I don't get the sense that his trousers are high enough. And he's not showing shirt cuff. I will give him credit for wearing patent leather shoes, but this is just not a good look. John F. Kennedy. Now this this is good. He's got the waistcoat, he's got the shirt with the wing collar, he's got the white bow tie, and it looks like he's wearing satin lapels, peak lapels on his tailcoat. He's got a white pocket square. It's nothing too over the top, but it's true to form. Yeah, I like that. Let's see. Okay, I kind of see what this person is doing, but there are a few things wrong. One, he has a pleated front on his shirt. No, you don't want pleats on your white tie shirt. And it looks like he has a regular fly collar. You want a wingtip collar or an imperial collar. I see he has a double-breasted waistcoat, and it looks like he's wearing a tailcoat, so at least he's got that going for him. Yeah, that's not a very true to form white tie ensemble. Sorry. Barack. Okay. Barack Obama here. He's wearing a regular turned down collar instead of either a wing collar or an imperial collar, so that's a knock. He's got dark studs in his shirt. No. That is wrong. And his waistcoat is peaking a little bit. And I don't see a side galon on his trousers, so yeah, there's quite a few things that could be improved on. Sorry, Barack. What is going on here? Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is AI, so, is that Sylvester Stallone? Okay, here we have, two white tie sum-ups. I don't like that the shirt on this one has black studs. You know the drill at this point. The waistcoat is peaking. This one is slightly better, but the waistcoat needs to be cut deeper. I kind of like what's going on here. Let's see. Are there any others that are... I have no idea what's going on here. Ooh. I like what this person's doing. It's very true to form. His waistcoat isn't peaking. He's got a pop of color in his pocket square. He's got peaked lapels on his tailcoat. and it is a proper tailcoat, it doesn't look too bad. This is actually a very nice white tie outfit. Okay. I can't tell if Downey is wearing a proper tailcoat or if he's just cheaping out with a tuxedo jacket. But he does have a wing collar with a white bow tie, so I'll give him that. Jon Hamm. Jon Hamm's not looking too bad. It looks like he's got some proper studs going on here. He's got the white bow tie. He's got a turn down collar. So that's a knock. But no, he's got a tailcoat and his waistcoat is in peak. Excuse me. Eight celebrities that wore feather bow ties. Okay. Okay, let me try this. And tails. White tie and tails. Let's see. I've seen this article before. I like what this guy's doing, except for the black studs, which I've already harped on about over a dozen times. I've lost count, sorry. John Legend. His waistcoat is peeking. Is that an old photo? The foreign language of white tie at the 2014 Met Gala. Interesting. Here's Johnny Depp. He's wearing white ties, or he's wearing white tie and tails, but he's also wearing spats, which detracts from the look, really. I mean, it breaks up the black, but... Wait a second. Are they wearing white tie in broad daylight? If he was wearing those during the day, then I would give him a pass for that, but I do like that he's wearing a walking... or I like that he's carrying a walking stick. I don't know what's going on with all these chains here. He's got a black stud. I think Bradley Cooper's got a pocket watch with his white tie, so... Ugh. Yeah, this is an absolute eyesore. I recognize Neil Patrick Harris, and I'm assuming that's his husband. These two are making a mockery of the white tie and tails. I mean, the tails are coming all the way down to just above their ankles. No, you want your tails to stop right about at the back of your knees. And they're not wearing socks. You should be wearing black evening socks. Cummerbunds. Really? Well, at least they're wearing the white bow tie, but... Oh, and they have notch lapels on their jackets. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but... Yeah. Overall... Their tail outfits... Sorry. Yeah, Tom Ford and Bradley Cooper, they do white tie so much better than these guys. Let's see what's going on here. Yeah, these just don't. Well, this one here doesn't look too bad, apart from the waistcoat peeking, but these two, that does not look good. Oh, excuse me. And the four of these guys, they all have their waistcoats peeking too much. What's this? Peeking waistcoats. It's like no matter what I see, there's this common occurrence that the waistcoats are peeking underneath all these tailcoats. Yep. I gotta agree with Raphael Schneider. Most men get it wrong because Hollywood just doesn't know what they're doing. And hold on, I want to find the I found the video that I was talking about. So I'm gonna pause that, and then I'm gonna switch back over. Oops.
Hello guys, welcome to Love Production, and today we will learn how to put on tailsuit. Every tailsuit is different, it's like brand of the cars, but it has main part. Here you can see everything you need for the tailsuit. This is what you need for your tailsuit: belt, collar.
Okay, this looks like one of those fake waistcoats that the vintage guy was talking about. I already forgot his name, but I knew what he was talking about, and it looks a lot like one of those fake waistcoats that he was showing, and yeah, I see what he means.
Collar, bow tie, cufflinks, and some buttons. Also you will need shoes. You will need to have a shirt and tailsuit. I already started. I have shirt on, I have pants on, and I have shoes on. Make sure that you put shoes before you put the jacket on, because then it will be hard to put on. Okay, we will start with the cufflinks. So here we have cufflinks. So how it works, it goes through, and then you just turn it make sure that the black part is on outside edge, not inside. The same on another side.
Wow, that guy's really thin.
When you're done with the
He's really
cufflinks,
lean.
make sure that your straps are crossed in the back. Then we come to these buttons. I will explain you why I have different kinds. I start with white first. You put with the small part through on my right side. Then I take left side of the shirt and go through again. First button is done. The same with the second. Go through, done. Why I chose white ones? You are supposed to have all in one color, like black, but I lost a lot of times them inside my pants, so these ones are more secure. So this is small chips. If you put these ones, you will never lose them. Nobody will see them because they are inside your pants. I have two buttons on the pants. I put one, I put two, and zip it. Then it's last two remaining buttons. The same thing, pointy end through the right side of the shirt, then the left side, and it's done. And one more. Then we come to these two buttons. One of them has a longer leg, another one has shorter leg. The one that has longer leg go in front. So I take again right side, my right side of the shirt, go through and go through. In the back it's a little bit more difficult because this part would need to go under the shirt. Now we come to the next thing, is our belt. This belt, as you can see, has 4 holes and we need to put through 4 buttons on the pants. It's pretty easy. Next part is collar. We put, here's the hole right in the middle. We need to put this button through the collar in the middle, like this. So in front, you see the edges coming down. Then you need to go through. You take the right side of your collar, go through the button. You take the left side of the collar, go through the button. Done. Then you would need to put bow tie. I usually put that the hook is on my left side. I usually do it in front of the mirror because then you see that it is in the middle.
Yeah, that is a cheap
When you have
cut
bow
out.
tie on you, you should check that the strap of the bow tie is under the collar and the bow tie is over the collar. You can take a look. Also, it's very important to put bow tie strap under the bottom.
Stud.
Then we come to the last stage of our tail suit, the jacket. You put your arms through. Then we have button on the jacket we need to attach to the band in the pants. Then I have hooks. I need to attach them to each other. Next is
Yeah, that
our
is not
sleeves.
a proper
So
tail suit.
sleeves will not be too much open or totally covered. We need to attach them to the jacket. So if you take a look, in the shirt we have a hole and in the jacket we have a button. We need to go through this hole. Also we have one more button and one more hole. So we need to connect these two parts. Now the tail suit is on. To not have any wrinkles on your arms during your dancing, I have a trick. You need to grab with your fingers your sleeves like this, and when you put position, you stretch, you release, you put your position. This tail suit was made on the distance and I'm very satisfied. Thank you very much for watching. Leave like and subscribe. I hope I helped you, and now you know how to put your tail suit. So good luck on the competitions, please leave like and subscribe. See you in next video.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many of you saw that, but this tail suit, or the jacket part, it had notch lapels. It's like, no matter what, these days the notch lapels are the most common. You know, I used to be fine with notch lapels when I was younger, but these days, I want my jackets to have peak lapels. 9 times out of 10. Or actually, hold on. More like 9 times out of 11. There will be the rare occasion where I will want a shawl collar, but you know, it is what it is. So I think I've pretty much made my point with white tie and pretty much shown everything that I could think to show. I am very pleased that I not only have my white tie and tails ensemble, but I'm also glad that I have options with my white tie ensemble. Usually I would wear the regular ivory dress shirt that I like to wear with my tuxedo. I'm pretty sure anybody who remembers watching that will remember that shirt. I do have the cufflinks that I DIY'd. Very proud of those. And I'm very proud that I made my bow tie the separate shirt collar. I even drafted the pattern for this wingtip collar, so pretty proud of that. Let's see. Oh, and it looks like I rambled way too long because now everybody's off. Wow. What a way to end. But, oh well. So tomorrow is Friday. I'm not sure what my plan for tomorrow is, but maybe for my next stream I'll take a look at my hybrid costume, where I combine aesthetics from Michael Jackson with aesthetics from Disney princes. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Until next time, I've been your host, D. Casanova, and until next time, I will see you on the web. Let me try that again. Until next time, I will see you on the web, but not on the Ritz. Sorry, taco reference, I just had to. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in, watching, lurking, whatever, and I hope to catch you next time. Goodbye! I should reach out to some of my friends to see how they're doing. Oh, forgot to mute.